The giant space station called Nexus Prime floated in the darkness between stars. It was as big as a moon and filled with lights that blinked like stars. Inside its huge metal walls, the Galaxy Council was meeting. This was the most important meeting in 1,000 years. Ambassador Hyanwu walked slowly through the long hallway. His black suit was perfect, but his hands shook just a little. He was the only human on this station. Around him, alien creatures moved in groups, their eyes watching him with hate. Some had blue skin and 4 arms, others looked like giant insects with sharp teeth. All of them wanted him gone. The council chamber was massive. The ceiling went up so high that Hyanwu could not see the top. Hundreds of seats were filled with alien leaders from across the galaxy. They all faced one small chair in the center of the room. That chair was for him. Hyanwu sat down and looked around. Every alien eye was staring at him. Some aliens whispered to each other in languages that sounded like hissing snakes or grinding metal. He could feel their anger like heat from a fire. The Vorthan Chancellor stood up from his golden throne. His name was Krelmok, and he was the most powerful being in the known galaxy. His body looked like it was made of purple crystal, and light danced inside his skin. When he spoke, his voice filled the entire chamber. Human, Krelmok said, and the words sounded like a curse. Your species has gone too far. Hyanwu said nothing. He had been told to listen first and speak only when asked. Behind him, he could hear alien claws tapping on metal seats. The sound was like rain on a roof, but much more frightening. For 15 years, we have watched your kind spread across the galaxy like a disease, Krelmok continued. You take planets that do not belong to you. You build cities where no cities should be. You act like you own the stars. A tall alien with silver skin and no eyes stood up. This was Speaker Vexilani of the Aquarian Empire. When she talked, her voice sounded like water flowing over rocks. The humans ignore our borders. They ignore our laws. They think they are special. More aliens began to stand and speak. Each one told stories about humans doing things they did. Not like the Zerathi complained that humans built too many ships. The Meccani said humans used too much metal from asteroid belts. The Trilans were angry that humans explored systems they claimed first. Hyanwu listened to it all. Some of the things they said were true. Humans did build fast and explore far, but humans only took empty planets. They only used resources that no one else wanted. They never attacked anyone who did not attack them first. Chancellor raised one crystal hand, and all the other aliens became quiet. The silence was so complete that Hyanwu could hear his own heartbeat. Human Ambassador Krelmok said, the Galaxy Council has made a decision. Your species must return to your home system. You have 72 standard hours to begin moving all humans back to Earth. Any human found outside the Sol system after that time will be considered an enemy of galactic peace. The words hit Hyanwu like a punch to the stomach. They wanted all humans to abandon their colonies. Millions of people lived on human worlds now. Children had been born on planets light years from Earth. These places were home to them. What about our colonies? Hyanwu asked. His voice stayed calm, but inside he was screaming. Your colonies will be given to species that know how to behave. I said a creature that looked like a walking tree. The Vorthans need new farming worlds. The Zelkari require mining planets. Your people can go back to their single world and stay there. And if we refuse? Hyanwu asked. The chamber erupted in alien laughter. It sounded like breaking glass mixed with animal growls. Chancellor Krelmok's crystal body flashed brighter for a moment. Look around you, human, Krelmok said. Every species in this chamber commands fleets that could turn your worlds to dust. The Vorthan Empire alone has 10,000 warships. The Aquarian Navy controls 50 systems. The Zelkari battle swarms have never lost a war. More aliens stood up to boast about their military power. Admiral Alexander of the Zelkari showed holographic images of his fleet. The ships looked like metal sharks with weapons that could crack. Planet General Hishtak of the Serpentine Empire displayed her army of soldier creatures that could survive in space without suits. Your entire human fleet has less than 1,000 ships, Krelmok continued. Most of them are cargo vessels, an exploration craft. You have no real weapons. You have no real armies. You are children playing with toys. Hyanwu stood up slowly. Every alien in the chamber focused on him. He could feel their confidence like a wall pressing down on him. They were so sure they had already won. I will deliver your message to Earth, Hyanwu said carefully, but I cannot promise what the answer will be. There is only one acceptable answer, Krelmok replied. Obedience. The galaxy has been peaceful for 2,000 years because every species knows their place. Humans must learn theirs. The meeting is over, announced Speaker Vexilani. The human has 72 hours. After that, our enforcement fleets will make sure the ultimatum is followed. Hyanwu bowed slightly and turned to leave. As he walked toward the exit, aliens on both sides whispered insults and threats. Some threw small objects at his feet. One creature spat a glob of green liquid that missed his shoes by inches. In the hallway outside the chamber, Hyanwu activated his communication device. It looked like a simple watch, but it could send messages across the galaxy instantly. He typed a short message that would seem normal to anyone watching, but would mean everything to the people on Earth. Meeting concluded. Weather forecast shows storms approaching. Recommend securing all outdoor equipment. Full report follows. On Earth, in the orbital command center floating above the blue planet, Captain Minho received the message. He was a short man with gray hair and scars on his hands from years of military service. When he read Hien-Wu's words, his face showed no emotion, but his eyes became very hard. The message seemed to be about weather, but Minho knew the real meaning. Storms approaching meant the aliens were coming to fight. Securing outdoor equipment meant to prepare the fleet for battle. Hien-Wu had given them exactly what they expected to hear. Minho walked to the communication station and sent out a single word to every human ship, base and colony in the galaxy: Thunderstrike. It was a code word that every human military officer knew. It meant that the peaceful time was over. It meant that Earth's children scattered across the stars would need to fight for their right to exist, deep in space. Admiral G1 received the message aboard her flagship. She was the commander of the Terran Deep Space Fleet, and she had been waiting for this moment for 15 years, since the day humans first met the aliens. She knew this confrontation would come. She called her senior officers to the bridge. The holographic display showed the positions of every human ship in known space. 847 vessels of different sizes and purposes, spread across 23 star systems. They want us to run home with our tails between our legs, Admiral G1 said to her officers. They think we are weak because we are young. They think we are stupid because we are different. They are about to learn how wrong they are. The officers nodded. They had all seen the intelligence reports. They knew about the secret projects, the hidden ships, the weapons that no alien had ever imagined. For 15 years, humanity had been preparing for this day. Send the recall signal to all deep cover assets, Admiral G1 ordered. It's time to show the galaxy what humans are really capable of. As her message traveled through space at faster than light speed, something began to awaken in the dark places between stars, in asteroid fields and around dead planets. Machines that had been sleeping for years started to power up. Engines that had been cold began to glow. Weapons that had never been fired started to charge. The Galaxy Council thought they knew everything about humanity. They were about to discover they knew nothing at all. 15 years ago, when humans first met aliens, Captain Minho was just a young soldier. He remembered that day clearly. The alien ship had appeared over Earth like a giant metal mountain in the sky. Every human on the planet had looked up and felt very small. The aliens called themselves the Vorthan Empire. They said they came in peace, but their ship carried enough weapons to destroy entire cities. Their leader, a crystal being named Kelmer, had spoken to Earth's leaders with words that sounded kind but felt like threats. "Welcome to the galaxy, little humans," Kelmer had said. "We will teach you how things work out here. Follow our rules, and you will be safe." But some humans had seen the truth behind those words. Admiral G1 was one of them. Even then, as a young commander, she knew that the aliens were not really friends. They were masters looking for new pets. "They think we are weak," she had told her officers after that first meeting. "They think we will always need their protection. We must make sure they keep thinking that while we prepare for the day they show their true face." Now, 15 years later, that day had come. Admiral G1 stood in the secret command center, hidden deep inside the moon. This place did not exist on any official records. Even most human governments did not know about it. The room was filled with screens showing star maps, ship positions, and data that would have shocked the Galaxy Council. Chief Engineer Duhayan walked up to her with a tablet in his hands. He was a thin man with glasses who looked more like a teacher than a military officer. But he was the smartest human alive when it came to building things that could fly and fight. "Admiral, the Dreadnought fleet is ready," Duhayan said quietly. "All 37 ships are at full power and waiting for orders." Admiral G1 nodded. The Dreadnought fleet was humanity's greatest secret. Each ship was the size of a small city and carried weapons that could crack a planet's surface. The aliens had no idea these ships existed. "Where are they now?" the Admiral asked. "Hidden in the asteroid belt around Proxima 7, inside the gas clouds of the Veil Nebula, and in 17 other locations that alien sensors cannot reach," Duhayan replied. "The stealth systems are working perfectly. Even if an alien ship flew right past them, it would see nothing but empty space." Dr. Sujin entered the room carrying a thick folder of papers. She was the head of human military research, and she had spent 15 years studying every piece of alien technology she could find. While the aliens thought humans were learning slowly, she had been unlocking secrets they never meant to share. "Admiral, I have the final reports on our weapon systems," Dr. Sujin said. "The kinetic cannons are ready. The adaptive AI networks are online, and the jump drives are working beyond our best hopes." The aliens used energy weapons, lasers and plasma beams that looked impressive but had many weaknesses. Humans decided to go a different way. They built kinetic weapons that fired solid metal at incredible speeds. These projectiles could punch through any alien shield because shields were designed to stop energy, not physical objects. "What about the jump drives?" Admiral G1 asked. Dr. Sujin smiled. This was her proudest achievement, the alien said. It was impossible to jump to light speed during a battle. Their science claimed that gravity and energy fields made it too dangerous, but they were wrong. We can now jump our ships anywhere in a star system in less than 3 seconds. This was the key to everything. Alien fleets fought in straight lines, like armies marching across a field. They moved slowly and predictably because that was how space battles had always been fought, but humans could appear anywhere instantly, attack from unexpected directions, and disappear before the enemy could respond. General Taman walked into the room. He was responsible for all human ground forces and the soldiers who protected the colonies. His face was serious, but his eyes were bright with anticipation. "Admiral, our people on the colonies are ready," General Taman reported. "They know what is coming, and they are not afraid. The families are moving to secure locations, but the defense forces are staying to fight." On the colony world of New Seoul, a woman named Yoonji was helping her children pack their most important belongings. Her husband worked at the mining station, and her 2 young sons had never seen Earth. This planet was the only home they had ever known. "Mama, why do we have to leave our house?" asked her youngest son. Jin-Ho.Eung knelt down and looked into his eyes. "We are not leaving forever, little one. We are going somewhere safe while the grown-ups handle some problems. When it is over, we will come back." But in her heart, Youngji was not sure if that was true. The aliens were powerful, and humans were few. Still, she had faith in the men and women who protected humanity. If anyone could find a way to win, it would be them. At the same time, on the Alien Council station, Admiral Dexander of the Zelkari Empire was meeting with other alien military leaders. The Zelkari looked like giant insects with wings and sharp claws. They were famous throughout the galaxy as the best warriors anyone had ever seen. "The humans will surrender quickly," Admiral Dexander said with confidence. "My scouts have counted their ships. They have less than 1,000 vessels, and most of those are cargo ships and exploration craft. My fleet alone has 3,000 battle cruisers." General Hishtak of the Serpentine Empire nodded her snake-like head. "The humans have no real weapons. They use primitive chemical rockets and simple metal bullets. Our shields will stop anything they can throw at us." Commander Zekalon of the Aquarian Navy laughed, and the sound was like bubbles popping underwater. "I have studied human tactics for years. They fight like children playing games. No discipline, no proper formations, no respect for traditional battle strategies. This will be over in hours." What none of these alien leaders knew was that humans had been studying them just as carefully. Every alien ship that visited human space had been scanned. Every alien weapon had been analyzed. Every alien battle tactic had been recorded and studied. Dr. Sujin had teams of scientists who did nothing but watch alien military exercises and look for weaknesses. They found many. The Zelkari always attacked from the front because they believed it was honorable. The Serpentines never split their forces because their commanders refused to trust each other. The Aquarians moved their fleets in perfect formations that looked beautiful but could not adapt quickly to changes. Back on Earth, Captain Minho was coordinating with resistance cells on every human colony. These were not professional soldiers, but ordinary people who had volunteered to fight for their homes. Farmers who learned to use military equipment. Teachers who became demolition experts. Shopkeepers who turned into spies. Each cell had been given special weapons designed by Dr. Sujin's team. The aliens would expect humans to use obvious tactics, so the resistance fighters were trained to do unexpected things. Instead of fighting big battles, they would attack supply lines. Instead of defending cities, they would strike at communication centers. Instead of meeting alien armies head-on, they would disappear into the wilderness and strike from hiding. On the moon base, Admiral G1 received reports from every human system. The hidden fleet was ready. The secret weapons were charged. The colonial defenses were in position. Most importantly, the aliens still had no idea what was really coming. 15 years, Admiral G1 said to herself as she looked at the holographic display showing alien fleet movements. 15 years of them thinking we were stupid children who needed their protection. 15 years of them believing their own propaganda about human weakness. They are about to learn the most important lesson in the galaxy. She turned to her communication officer. "Send a message to all human commanders. Tell them that Operation Thunderstrike begins in exactly 12 hours, and remind them of our motto." The communication officer nodded. Every human in the military knew their unofficial motto. It was not written in any manual or displayed on any flag, but every soldier, sailor, and pilot carried it in their heart. "Underestimate us at your own risk." The aliens had made that mistake. In 12 hours, they would begin to pay the price for their arrogance. The galaxy was about to discover that humanity's greatest weapon was not their technology or their tactics. It was the fact that nobody expected them to be dangerous until it was far too late. The 72 hours were over. On the Galaxy Council station, Chancellor Krelmok sat on his crystal throne and waited for news of human surrender. His scouts had reported no movement from human colonies, no evacuation ships, no signs of retreat. "The humans are being stubborn," he told Admiral Alexander. "Begin the enforcement action." Show them what happens when they ignore the Galaxy Council. Admiral Alexander's insect-like face twisted into what might have been a smile. It will be my pleasure, Chancellor. My fleet is already moving toward the nearest human colony. We will have them begging for mercy within hours. But at that exact moment, Admiral G1 was standing in her command center looking at a countdown timer. When it reached 0, she spoke one word into her communicator: execute. Across the galaxy, that single word reached every human ship, base, and hidden weapon platform. Operation Thunderstrike had begun. Captain Minho stood on the bridge of the U.S. Defiance, humanity's newest destroyer. Around him, his crew worked at their stations with calm efficiency. They had trained for this moment for years, but none of them had ever fought a real space battle before. Jump coordinates locked in, Captain, reported his navigation officer. All weapons charged and ready, added his weapons officer. Minho looked at the star chart showing the position of the alien enforcement fleet. 3,000 enemy ships arranged in perfect formation, moving slowly toward the human colony of New Busan. They had no idea what was about to happen. Take us in, Minho ordered. The Defiance jumped to light speed and emerged directly above the alien fleet. 1 second there was empty space, and the next second a human warship appeared like magic. The aliens had never seen anything like it. Admiral Alexander was reading reports from his scouts when alarms started screaming throughout his flagship. What is happening? He demanded. Sir, a human ship just appeared in our formation, his tactical officer reported. It came out of nowhere. Impossible, Alexander snarled. Their technology cannot do tactical jumps. Our scientists proved it was not possible. But before he could say anything else, more human ships began appearing all around his fleet. They materialized from empty space like ghosts becoming solid. The UES Thunder, the UES Lightning, the UES Storm, each one appeared in a different location surrounding the alien fleet from all directions. Captain Minho opened a communication channel to the alien flagship. Admiral Alexander, this is Captain Minho of the Terran Federation. You have entered human space without permission. Leave now, or we will make you leave. Alexander's laughter filled the communication channel. You dare threaten me with your tiny fleet? I have 3,000 ships. You have maybe 50. Actually, Minho replied calmly. We have exactly what we need. The human ships opened fire, but instead of the energy weapons the aliens expected, they fired solid metal projectiles at incredible speeds. The kinetic rounds punched through alien shields like they were made of paper. Alien ships that had never taken damage in battle suddenly found their hulls cracking and their systems failing. Commander Wu Jin, captain of the stealth destroyer, U.S. Shadow, was attacking alien supply ships behind their main fleet. His vessel was nearly invisible, using technology that bent light around it. He struck at fuel tankers and ammunition ships, causing explosions that lit up space like new stars. Supply convoy destroyed, he reported to Admiral G1, moving to secondary targets. At the same time, Captain Honnold was leading a squadron of human fighters against the alien command ship. Her small craft moved in ways that alien pilots could not follow. They spun and twisted through space, using their superior speed and agility to avoid enemy fire while delivering precise strikes. Pilot Yan Wu was flying his fighter through a cloud of alien interceptors. His ship's AI was analyzing enemy movement patterns and predicting where each alien craft would be in the next few seconds. He fired his weapons before the aliens even began to turn, hitting them exactly where the computer said they would be. This is impossible, one alien pilot broadcast on an open channel. How are they doing this? The answer was simple. Human pilots did not follow rigid flight patterns like aliens did. They adapted in real time, changing tactics based on what the enemy was doing. Their AI systems learned from every battle, moved and became smarter with each passing second. But the biggest shock was yet to come. Deep in space, hidden in an asteroid field near the edge of the system, something enormous was waking up. The Retribution, flagship of humanity's secret dreadnought fleet, powered up its engines for the first time in 5 years. Admiral Beam-suk stood on the bridge of the massive ship. The Retribution was 3 miles long and carried enough firepower to destroy a small moon. Around it, 36 other dreadnoughts were also coming online. All ships report ready, Admiral, his first officer announced. Then let's introduce ourselves to our new friends. Admiral Beam-suk replied. The human dreadnoughts decloaked all at once. Suddenly the aliens found themselves facing ships larger than anything they had ever imagined. The Retribution alone was bigger than Admiral Alexander's entire command squadron. On the alien flagship, panic was spreading like fire. Officers were shouting reports of impossible human technology. Tactical displays showed human ships appearing and disappearing at will. Damage reports flooded in from across the fleet. Sir, we have lost contact with 47 ships, one officer reported. The humans are jamming our communications. Another added, their weapons are penetrating our shields like they don't exist. A third officer said. Admiral Alexander stared at the tactical display in disbelief. His perfect formation was falling apart. Ships that had never been damaged were exploding. Enemy vessels were appearing faster than his gunners could target them. "How is this possible?" he whispered. The answer came from Captain Minho's voice over the communication channel. "We told you to leave, Admiral. You chose not to listen. Now you get to learn why that was a mistake." The battle was spreading to other systems. At the colony world of New Sol, Colonel Dongwook was leading the defense of the orbital stations. His troops used powered armor that made them stronger and faster than any alien soldier. When enemy boarding parties tried to capture human facilities, they found themselves fighting opponents who could punch through metal walls and jump over buildings. On the surface of New Sol, the colonist Yunji was watching the battle from her shelter. Bright lights flashed in the sky as human and alien ships fought among the stars. Her children pressed against the windows, wide-eyed with wonder and fear. "Are we winning, Mama?" asked her son Jin-Ho.Eun-G. Looked at the display screen showing news from across human space. Everywhere, the story was the same. Alien fleets were retreating. Human ships were chasing them. The mighty Galaxy Council was discovering that they had picked a fight with the wrong species. "Yes, little one," she said softly. "I think we are." Back in the main battle, Admiral Dexander was trying to rally his remaining ships. Half of his fleet was gone, destroyed or disabled by weapons he did not understand. The humans were not fighting like any enemy he had ever faced. "All ships retreat to Rally Point 7, he ordered. "We need to regroup," and his words were cut off as the U.S. Retribution's main cannon fired. The beam of energy was so bright it could be seen from the planet's surface. It struck the alien flagship's shields and burned through them like they were made of smoke. Admiral Dexander's ship shook like a toy in a storm. Emergency lights flashed red. Smoke filled the bridge. For the first time in his military career, the famous Zelkari admiral felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. "Signal retreat," he gasped. "All ships, emergency jump to Council space. We need reinforcements." But Admiral G1 was not finished with them yet. As the alien ships tried to escape, she gave an order that would echo through galactic history: pursue them. Make sure they understand what happens when someone threatens Earth. The human fleet followed the retreating aliens, striking at their engines and weapons as they fled. By the time the aliens reached the edge of the system, they had lost 2/3 of their ships. The mighty enforcement fleet that was supposed to crush human resistance had been crushed instead. On the Galaxy Council station, Chancellor Krelmark received the impossible news. His crystal body flickered with disbelief as he read report after report of alien defeats. "This cannot be accurate," he said to his aide. "The humans do not have this kind of military power." But the reports kept coming. Human fleets were advancing on multiple fronts. Alien bases were under attack. Species that had never lost a battle were calling for help. The galaxy was learning a hard lesson: never underestimate the species that calls itself human. The news of Admiral Dexander's defeat spread across the galaxy like wildfire. In the Galaxy Council chambers, alien leaders who had been confident just hours before were now arguing in panic. "How did this happen?" demanded Speaker Vexilani of the Aquarian Empire. Her water-filled helmet bubbled with agitation. "Our intelligence said the humans were weak." Chancellor Krelmark's crystal body was flickering rapidly, a sign of extreme stress. "Our scouts counted less than 1,000 human ships. Where did these dreadnoughts come from?" The answer came from General Hishtak of the Serpentine Empire. She had just received reports from her own spies. The humans had been hiding their true strength for 15 years. They built weapons in secret. They developed technology we thought it was impossible. They made us think they were harmless while they prepared for war. Ambassador Hyan Wu was still on the council station, but now his situation had changed completely. Instead of being a prisoner waiting for his species to surrender, he was watching alien leaders panic as their fleets were defeated across the galaxy. "Impossible," whispered Counselor Zekmer of the Trilonian Republic. "No species has ever developed such advanced technology so quickly. They were primitive when we first met them." Hyan Wu stood up slowly. Every alien eye in the chamber focused on him, but now they looked at him with fear instead of contempt. "You made a mistake," Hyan Wu said quietly. "You assumed that because we were new to the galaxy, we were stupid. You thought that because we seemed peaceful, we were weak. You believed that because we respected your rules, we would always obey them." The chamber fell silent. The only sound was the hum of the station's life support systems. "But humans have a saying," Hyan Wu continued. "We say that still waters run deep. We learned everything we could about your technology. We studied your tactics, we discovered your weaknesses, and we prepared for the day you would show us your true face." On the main battle screen, real-time reports showed human fleets advancing on multiple fronts. The Terran Third Fleet was pushing toward the Vorthon border. The Fifth Fleet was engaging Aquarian forces near the Crab Nebula. The Seventh Fleet was hunting down the remnants of the Zelkari Enforcement Squadron. Colonel Dongwook was leading a boarding action against an alien space station. His Marines wore powered armor that made them look like metal giants. Each suit was equipped with sensors that could see through walls and weapons that could cut through any armor. The alien defenders were Makani soldiers, famous throughout the galaxy for their discipline and training, but they had never faced anything like human Marines in powered armor. "Contact front," shouted Sergeant Hagen as his squad rounded a corner. 3 Makani warriors were waiting with their energy rifles ready. They fired simultaneously, their beams striking the human armor. The energy blasts that should have killed the Marines instead bounced off their armor plating. The Makani soldiers stared in shock as the humans kept advancing, their weapons smoking, but their bodies unharmed. "Our turn," Hagen said, and opened fire with his kinetic rifle. The solid projectiles punched through the alien armor like it was made of cardboard. The Makani soldiers fell, their perfect discipline no match for superior technology. In space, Captain So-young was leading her ship, the UES Tsunami, in a battle against a Vorthan heavy cruiser. The alien ship was 3 times larger than her destroyer, but she was not worried. Human ships were faster, more maneuverable, and equipped with weapons the aliens could not defend against. "Target their engine section," she ordered her weapons officer. "Use the kinetic penetrators." The Tsunami fired a spread of metal rods accelerated to incredible speeds. They struck the alien cruiser's engine housing and punched clean through it. The massive ship shuddered and began to list as its power systems failed. "Alien vessel, this is Captain So-young of the Terran Federation," she broadcast. "Your engines are disabled. Surrender now and your crew will be treated according to galactic law." The alien captain's response was filled with rage and disbelief. "How dare you? We are the Vorthan Empire. We have ruled this sector for 1,000 years. That was before you met us," So-young replied calmly. "Surrender, or we will disable your life support systems next." The turning point of the entire war came when Admiral G1's flagship, the UES Terra's Wrath, encountered the alien coalition's command vessel. The massive ship was called the Eternal Dominion, and it was the most powerful warship in the known galaxy. Admiral Kreshtar of the Combined Fleet was confident that his flagship could defeat any human vessel. The Eternal Dominion carried weapons that could destroy asteroids and shields that had never been penetrated. "Human Admiral Kreshtar broadcast, you have defeated some of our smaller fleets, but now you face the full might of the Galaxy Council. Surrender now, and we will allow your species to live as our servants." Admiral G1's response was broadcast across the galaxy, reaching every human colony and every alien world. Her words would be remembered for generations. "Admiral Kreshtar, this is Admiral G1 of the Terran Federation. You had your chance for peace, you chose war instead. Now you will learn why that was the biggest mistake in galactic history." The battle between the 2 flagships began with a massive exchange of firepower. The Eternal Dominion's energy weapons lit up space like artificial stars. The Terra's Wrath responded with kinetic rounds that struck like meteors. But the human ship had advantages the aliens had never imagined. Its AI systems analyzed the alien ship's firing patterns and predicted where the next shots would come from. Its jump drive allowed it to teleport around the battlefield, appearing where the enemy least expected it. Most importantly, the Terra's Wrath was not fighting alone. As the battle raged, more human ships began appearing around the alien flagship. They materialized from jump space one by one, surrounding the massive vessel from all directions. The Eternal Dominion found itself facing not one enemy, but an entire fleet that had appeared as if by magic. Human ships struck from above and below, from left and right, from directions that should have been impossible. "How are they doing this?" Admiral Kreshtar demanded of his tactical officer. "Sir, they are using some kind of instantaneous travel technology. Our sensors cannot track them while they are jumping." The alien flagship's shields began to fail under the constant barrage. Kinetic rounds punched through its armor. Its weapon systems were targeted and destroyed one by one. The ship that had never been damaged in battle was slowly being torn apart. "Signal surrender," Admiral Kreshtar finally admitted. "We cannot win this fight." But Admiral G1 was not finished. She opened a channel to every ship in the system, human and alien alike. "This is Admiral G1 of the Terran Federation. To all alien forces in this system, you came here to destroy our colonies and enslave our people. You thought we were weak because we were peaceful. You were wrong." Her voice was calm, but every word carried the weight of absolute authority. "I am giving you one chance to leave human space and never return. Any alien ship that is still in our territory in 1 hour will be considered an enemy and dealt with accordingly. This is not a negotiation. This is a statement of fact." The alien fleet began to retreat immediately. Ships that had been advancing on human colonies suddenly turned around and fled toward the galactic core. The mighty coalition fleet, which had never been defeated in 1,000 years of warfare, was running away from a species they had dismissed as primitive. On the Galaxy Council station, the alien leaders watched their fleets retreat in shock and disbelief. Their perfect formations were broken. Their invincible ships were fleeing. Their absolute authority over the galaxy was crumbling. "This is impossible," Chancellor Krelmach whispered. "No single species has ever defeated the combined might of the Galaxy Council." Ambassador Heian-Wu smiled for the first time since arriving at the station. "You keep saying that word, impossible, but I think you do not understand what it means." He walked to the center of the chamber, where hours before he had stood as a defendant facing judgment. Now he stood as the representative of the galaxy's new dominant power. Humans have a different relationship with the word impossible, Hien Wu said. When someone tells us something cannot be done, we take it as a challenge. When someone says we are too weak to fight, we prove them wrong. When someone tries to cage us, we break the cage. The alien leaders stared at him in silence. Everything they thought they knew about the galaxy had changed in a single day. The humans they had dismissed as children were now the strongest military force in known space. What do you want? Chancellor Krelmok asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Hien Wu's smile grew wider. We want what we have always wanted. The right to exist. The right to explore. The right to build homes among the stars. The only difference is that now, we no longer need your permission. 3 days after the Great Battle, the Galaxy Council station looked very different. Holes in the outer hull showed where human kinetic rounds had punched through the metal. Repair drones buzzed around the damage like metal insects trying to heal their wounded hive. Inside the council chambers, the alien leaders sat in their seats like broken statues. Their crystal thrones were cracked, their golden chairs were dented. Their floating platforms flickered with failing power systems. Chancellor Krelmok's crystal body had lost its bright glow. The light inside his skin was dim and gray, like a dying star. When he spoke, his voice was barely loud enough to hear. The Galaxy Council formally withdraws the ultimatum against humanity, he announced to the chamber. All enforcement fleets are ordered to return to their home systems immediately. Ambassador Hien Wu stood at the center of the chamber, but his position had completely changed. 3 days ago he had been a defendant facing judgment. Now he was humanity's representative to a new galactic order. The Terran Federation accepts your withdrawal, Hien Wu replied formally. But withdrawal is not enough. There must be new agreements, new rules, a new understanding of how the galaxy will work. He activated a holographic projector that showed a map of known space. Red zones marked human territory. Blue zones showed alien empires. Yellow zones indicated neutral space and trade routes. First, Hien Wu said, all human colonies are now recognized as sovereign Terran territory. No alien fleet may enter these systems without official permission from Earth. The alien leaders whispered among themselves, but none of them objected. They had seen what happened to fleets that entered human space without permission. Second, Hien Wu continued, the Galaxy Council's authority to force species compliance is officially ended. No member world may be threatened with military action for refusing council decisions. This caused more whispers, but still no objections. The aliens now understood that their era of absolute control was over. Third, humanity claims the right to explore any system not already occupied by intelligent life. We will establish colonies on empty worlds and mine resources from dead asteroids. Any attempt to interfere with these activities will be considered an act of war. Speaker Vexilani of the Aquarian Empire raised one webbed hand. What about trade agreements? Economic cooperation, cultural exchange? Hien Wu nodded. Humanity is willing to engage in peaceful trade with any species that recognizes our sovereignty. We offer our technology, our resources, and our knowledge to those who treat us as equals. On Earth, President Janae was addressing the United Colonies via quantum communication. The president was a small woman with gray hair, but her words carried the authority of an entire species that had just proven itself in battle. My fellow humans, she began, today marks the beginning of a new chapter in our history. We are no longer the newcomers to the galaxy. We are no longer the species that needs protection. We have earned our place among the stars through courage, intelligence, and determination. The broadcast reached every human world, every space station, every mining facility scattered across the galaxy. On New Sol, the colonist Yoonji watched with her children as their president spoke. Mama, does this mean we can stay in our house? Asked little Jin-Ho. Yoonji hugged her son and smiled. Yes, little one. This is our home, and no one can make us leave it anymore. On the moon base, Admiral G1 was meeting with her senior staff to plan humanity's new defense strategy. The holographic display showed the positions of the Terran defense grid, a network of human installations that would protect every human world. The aliens will not try a direct attack again, Admiral G1 said to her officers. But they might attempt sabotage, espionage, or economic warfare. We must be ready for anything. Commodore Minho, recently promoted for his actions during the battle, studied the tactical displays. What about exploration beyond the current borders? There are entire sectors we have never visited. Admiral G1 smiled. That brings me to our next project. Dr. Sujin's team has been working on long-range exploration technology. We are going to push further into unknown space than any species has ever gone. In her laboratory, Dr. Sujin was indeed working on humanity's next breakthrough. The device on her workbench looked simple, but it represented technology that would revolutionize space travel. With this new system, human ships could jump between galaxies as easily as they currently jumped between star systems. Admiral, she said into her communicator, the intergalactic drive is ready for testing. We can begin exploring other galaxies. Within the month, Chief Engineer Du Hyan was overseeing the construction of humanity's newest ship class. These vessels were larger than the dreadnoughts and designed for one purpose: deep space exploration. Each ship carried enough supplies to operate independently for decades and enough firepower to handle any threat they might encounter. The first Galaxy-class explorer will be ready in 6 months, he reported to Admiral G1. We can begin mapping other galaxies and searching for new worlds to colonize. Back on the Council Station, the alien leaders were trying to understand how their perfect system had collapsed so completely. General Hishtak of the Serpentine Empire was studying reports from the battles. Their technology is beyond anything we imagined, she admitted to the other leaders. They can appear anywhere instantly. Their weapons ignore our defenses. Their artificial intelligence systems adapt faster than our crews can react. Counselor Zeekmer of the Trillonian Republic nodded sadly. We became too comfortable with our power. We stopped innovating because we thought we were already perfect. The humans never stopped learning, never stopped improving. Chancellor Krulmark looked around the damaged chamber. The question now is, what do we do next? Do we accept this new reality, or do we try to fight it? The answer came from an unexpected source. Admiral Dexander, the Zelkari commander who had led the first failed attack on human space, entered the chamber. His insect-like body was covered in bandages, and one of his arms was in a mechanical brace. I have a message from my emperor, he announced. The Zelkari Empire wishes to negotiate a trade agreement with the Terran Federation. We offer our mining technology in exchange for human military advisors. This caused shocked whispers throughout the chamber. The Zelkari were the most warlike species in the galaxy, and they were asking humans for military advice. The humans fight like nothing we have ever seen, Dexander continued. They do not follow our rules of war. They adapt. They improvise. They find solutions we never imagined. My emperor believes we can learn from them. Other alien leaders began to nod. If they could not defeat humanity, perhaps they could learn from them instead. On the human colony world of New Busan, young Heywan was playing in her backyard when she saw something amazing in the sky. A new star was moving among the others, brighter than anything she had ever seen. Papa, what is that light? She asked her father. Her father smiled and pointed up at the moving star. That is the UES Horizon, little one. The first human ship designed to explore other galaxies. It is going to places no one has ever been before. Heywan watched the ship until it disappeared among the stars. She did not understand all the big words the adults used when they talked about the war, but she understood one thing clearly. Humans could go anywhere they wanted now. The whole universe was waiting for them. Dr. Sujin released her final report on the conflict to the Terran High Command. Her conclusions would shape human policy for generations to come. The Galaxy Council failed because they believed their own propaganda, she wrote. They thought being old made them wise. They thought being powerful made them right. They thought being many made them strong, but they forgot the most important truth. Evolution never stops. The species that stops adapting is the species that dies. She looked up from her report and gazed out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, human ships were already pushing into unexplored regions of space. Somewhere out there, new worlds were waiting to become human homes. The aliens saw us as children playing with dangerous toys, she said to herself. They never realized we were adults who had simply been patient. The galaxy is vast, but it is no longer big enough to contain what humanity has become. Admiral G1 received Dr. Sujin's report and smiled. The war was over, but the real adventure was just beginning. Humanity had proven it could fight when threatened. Now it was time to prove something even more important, that humans could explore, discover, and build something better than what came before. She activated her communicator and sent a message to every human ship in the fleet. This is Admiral G. Phase 1 is complete. We have secured our right to exist. Phase 2 begins now. We are going to explore beyond the known galaxy and find out what wonders are waiting for us among the stars. The response came back from hundreds of ships across dozens of star systems. Understood. Admiral, ready for Phase 2. The galaxy had learned to respect humanity. Soon the universe would learn the same lesson. The species that refused to be caged was ready to explore spaces no one had ever imagined. And, in the end, that was the most human thing of all. When faced with the infinite, they chose to explore it rather than fear it.